So, we have a problem. Oh my goodness, it just makes me so mad. Race, I just don't understand people's fixation with it. It is such a weird topic. I understand why it originated, but the fact that we still talk about it is wild. And one thing I've noticed about black people as a whole, not every black person, but us as a community, we are the main people who don't want people to judge us based off our race, or who don't want people to assess us based off our race. Yet we find some way to keep it alive in everything that happens.
I can't believe someone would be hurt like that just because they're black.
And it's crazy to me because of stuff like this. So there was this kid, right? He's a 4-star recruit, high school quarterback, and he committed to Florida. This man committed to the University of Florida. That's a very big time school. So that's a very big deal. And he was committed and he had a scholarship, right? But they have since revoked that scholarship because of this. So it is a video of him rapping a song in which he says the N-word because the song says the N-word as well, right? The person rapping the song said the N-word. Therefore, the person who's filming himself rapping the song, i.e. this kid, then says it. Now, I mean, the obvious thing is, it's a racial slur and he's white. Therefore, he's not allowed to say it. So we're going to revoke the scholarship, right? And that's exactly what they did. So this article right here says, the University of Florida has withdrawn a scholarship offer for Nice High School quarterback Marcus Stokes after video of him rapping along to a song using a racial slur surfaced on social media. Stokes took to social media to apologize on Sunday, saying that he accepts the consequences of his actions. I deeply apologize for the words in the song that I chose to say. It was hurtful and offensive to many people, and I regret that, Stokes wrote. I fully accept the consequences for my actions, and I respect the University of Florida's decision to withdraw my scholarship offer to play football. He then goes on to say, my intention was never to hurt anybody, and I recognize that even when going along with this song, my words still carry a lot of weight. Like I said, it's just, we have a problem here, right? Where in his apology, he says that it was hurtful and offensive to many people, and I regret that. If the word is so hurtful and offensive, why do we say it? Why? I just don't understand that, right? I talked about this before, how it makes me sad that as a community, we have adopted things that were meant to be derogatory toward us, and we believe that that's empowerment. We believe that calling each other niggas is empowerment. We believe that it is empowering. We believe that it's cool. But when another race does it, even if they do it in the exact same content, well, now it's disrespectful. It is so weird to me, man. It just doesn't make any sense, because if the word is so offensive, well, then why is it in a song, right? And why is the song allowed to be played or allowed to be sold to all kinds of people, including white people, right? But then someone might hit me with a rebuttal. Well, it's not necessarily the word, it's the person who's saying the word. Well, that doesn't make any sense. If it wasn't the word, well, then someone else who doesn't look like you saying the word wouldn't bother you either. It's the word in conjunction with a white person saying it. But just think about how this sounds, right? In the most basic term, right? One race of people is allowed to do something that another race of people can't do. What does that sound like to you? That's, at least to me, that sounds like racism. You might be like, how's that racism? He's saying the N-word, right? That could be racist. People might think him saying the N-word is racist. But once again, I brought this up before, but let's just revisit the definition of racism, right? Let's just revisit it. Prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. Not only, but typically, right? So that makes sense, but that doesn't mean that only white people can be racist. Black people can be racist as well. Asian people, Hispanic people, Mexican people, anybody can be racist. Now the definition: the belief that different races possess distinct characteristics, abilities, or qualities, especially so as to distinguish them as inferior or superior to one another. And I've mentioned this definition before, but I'll bring it up a million more times if I feel like I need to, because like I said right here, it just doesn't make any sense to me. If he is saying the word in the exact same context as I would say the word if I was rapping that song, where's the problem, right? Unless we just don't like white people saying the word, period. But because we don't have a copyright over words, we don't have ownership over them, anybody can say whatever they want. This weird sense of feeling like we need to police white people in saying the N-word is crazy. Now, I'm not inviting white people to say the N-word simply because I'm not inviting anyone to say the word. The word is derogatory. So once again, the fact that we feel as though we are taking the power back and that it is empowering to us if we call each other that is beyond me. I don't understand it because the definition of the word didn't change. It's just the perception of it did. But the perception of it, if it changed, well, then that should bleed over to everyone else, or else it looks racist. If you are saying that one group of people based on the race is allowed to do something that another group cannot, right? It's weird, right? But this kid's scholarship is gone now because he rapped a song and said the word. For a lot of these songs, you might not even be able to say the word itself. That's why a lot of them are on the radio, because the only thing you'd hear is the beat, because they'd be bleeping out words every 2 words, and every 3 words is the N word. So, like, what are we really talking about? Now, what I will say, and I said this when I was talking about Brittany Griner, is that there is a responsibility on his part. Like, I can look at the way the world is or this country is, and I can be like, that's so stupid, right? Like, it's a word. If we say it, why can't other people say it? Not that I'm inviting them to say it, but it just feels weird if we're the only ones who feel like we can say it, because then that opens the door up to say, well, we have ownership over everything. Deion Sanders just got hired at Colorado. He's leaving Jackson State. And instead of people being happy for him, all I've seen is people getting mad at white people who go to Colorado, saying that all you're getting is Deion. You're not getting black culture, right? This isn't, right? You're only getting the coach. You're not getting the energy or anything else he brings, right? Just mad, just angry because we got to gatekeep everything. I saw a black person cut, black lady, barber, cut some white dude's hair, and people in the comments of it, instead of just being happy for her that her business is flourishing, they're pissed off. Oh, they're taking our barbers now too. They're just taking everything from us, right? So just so much hate and animosity. That must be difficult to walk around with. But that's how the world is right now. Like I said, or at least this country, right? Where there's so much hate. And for a lot of people who are in the black community, they feel this responsibility to gatekeep everything because they think that white people are just coming after them, right? We can't just coexist in a society where we get to share things. No, we don't want white people to use the things that we use or say the things that we say. But if then they do that to us, well, that's racism, it's discrimination, it's segregation. It's just so ironic to me how that's the case. But like I said, that's how the world is. And for somebody like this, you have to understand that. So yeah, he does bear some of the responsibility. Like I said it before in the Brittany Griner situation, her sentence is horrible. But at the end of the day, you know what country you're going to. So the fact that you would even attempt to try anything is absolutely crazy to me. So for him to do this, it's unfortunate that he does this and then he gets his scholarship revoked. But then at the end of the day, he's outnumbered 1 to 1 trillion in terms of people who think that he's now some racist or that he shouldn't be allowed to say the word because of his skin color. I don't even know why we celebrate Black History Month, right? Dr. Martin Luther King, we hold him on a pedestal, yet we spit in his face every single day of the week.
Is this it? This is what I got all those ass whoopings for?
Because we constantly assess people by their skin color. What it is that they're allowed to say, what it is that they're allowed to do, what they can do, what they can't do, what they can say, what they can't say, what they can wear, what hairstyles they can rock, right? Justin Bieber, God forbid, he rocks a hairstyle that most black people wear. And instead of saying, hey, that looks good, or I just don't like the hairstyle, you think he's some kind of racist because he is trying to steal from us, right? As if we have copyright over braids or locks or anything like that, right? Yet I see a bunch of people walking around with blonde hair. They're putting contacts in to make their eyes blue. And I think it looks fantastic depending on the person. I don't have an issue with that. But I also see no one else going on the front lines and saying, oh my goodness, that's cultural appropriation of white people. Number 1, because that would be crazy to say. Number 2, they wouldn't dare do it because the hounds of justice would dog them out. But it's just weird, our fixation with race. Like I said, so much to the point where, like, even at the highest level, the NFL, like, they just have nothing better to do. Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, I believe this man is 80. He's either in his 80s or his 80 on the dot. There was a picture that surfaced from when he was like 14, in which he was seen amongst a crowd of white people who were onlooking some black kids who were walking into a school during a period of desegregation, right? Where that was trying to be pushed, right? Where black kids are trying to be integrated into white schools so that we can end all this ridiculous racism and BS. And I guess somebody just got bored, right? And just pulled it up. They're asking him questions about it. You got sports reporters who are demanding him to apologize and denounce racism, as if you can assess what was going on in his brain via a picture, right? Him just standing there at 14. God forbid we pull up what you did at 14. But then you got LeBron James. This guy is incredible. He's a fantastic player. I say incredible, right, because I don't even know the connotation of the word anymore based on, when I'm talking about him. But he's a fantastic player. He's done a lot of great things. But LeBron just tries to do everything like too right, tries to be too perfect, right? And he just kind of comes off as this weird and entitled character, as if he was supposed to be asked a question about Jerry Jones, right? As number one, if it matters. And number two, this is not even his sport. Football is not his sport. So obviously they're not going to ask him a question about it. But he was in a press conference after a game. I mean, and just listen to this, man. I don't even know. Just listen.
I got one question for you guys before you guys leave. I was thinking when I was on my way over here, I was wondering why I haven't gotten a question from you guys about the Jerry Jones photo. But when the Kyrie thing was going on, you guys were quick to ask us questions about that.
Okay.
Hold on. And I don't even want you guys to say nothing. When I watched Kyrie talk and he says, I know who I am, but I want to keep the same energy when we're talking about my people and the things that we've been through. And that Jerry Jones photo is one of those moments that our people, black people, have been through in America. And I feel like as a black man, as a black athlete, as someone with power and a platform, when we do something wrong or something that people don't agree with, it's on every single tabloid, every single news coverage. It's on the bottom ticker. It's asked about every single day. But it seems like to me that the whole Jerry Jones situation photo, and I know it was years and years ago and we all make mistakes, I get it. But it seemed like it's just been buried under like, oh, it happened. Okay, we just move on. And I was just kind of disappointed that I haven't received that question from you guys. Appreciate it.
Bro said he's disappointed. It's like we want to be oppressed so bad, right? Number one, people were talking about the Jerry Jones situation. I don't know what he was on about. And number two, I'm not going to say that at any point in time, and maybe even a little bit today, that certain black people are maybe held to a higher standard, right, indirectly because of X, Y, and Z. I'm not saying that that doesn't exist, but at any point in time, we could have talked about this, right? It's been out there, obviously, right? But you are talking about a 14-year-old kid who you don't know. He could have just been there just observing to see what it was. But the funny thing, right? The funny thing is that everyone who lives in today's time, they believe that if they were born back then, that they'd be a freedom fighter and that they'd stand up for black people and that they wouldn't be racist and all these things like that, right? But that's just a lie, right? It is. If you were born during that time and that's all you know, let's just assume he was racist, right? You can't tell from the picture, right? LeBron just wants to be so self-righteous and he just wants to be oppressed. Billionaire LeBron wants to be oppressed, but like you can't determine if he was actually racist in the picture or if he was just observing. But regardless, let's just say that he was. Right? That is what he knew growing up because it was okay. It was legal, right? There were laws that acknowledged racism and segregation, right? So chances are if you were growing up during that time, you would have the same mindset. People just believe that they are self-righteous now because history has already ran its course, right? At least that type of history to a degree, right? But like sports isn't even about sports anymore, man. It's about politics and race and all this stuff like that. And the main people who don't want it to be a conversation won't shut up about it. They keep bringing it up.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man. And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man.
No, they don't need to ask you about it because not everyone needs to ask LeBron James, all of life's pressing questions, especially if it's happening in another sport, right? And especially if it happened 1,000 years ago, and especially if it's just a photo. Now, like I said, you can't judge what he was doing necessarily or what his mindset was. I mean, he could have been, and if he was, it's unfortunate. Hopefully he's changed. My thought is that he would. If he was some racist white supremacist, I don't think he would be too fond of the fact that his franchise quarterback is black, or that his star running back is black, or that one of the best, if not the best defensive player in the league on his team is black. So like come on now. But we just throw it into everything, bro. And that's why people can't stand sports now. Sports is supposed to be the getaway, right? We escape all of this crap for a few hours and just enjoy it. They got messages written on the field and on the courts and on the uniforms. They use the press conferences to make political statements or whatnot. It's like the place that we went to get away from this. You are now saturating it with that. Now, if you want to use your social media platforms or your podcast to talk about it, that's all good. But when you step between these lines or whatever, right? Like, no one wants to hear any of that. But you just want to insert it into everything because we want to be oppressed so bad. Sometimes I just feel like we just want to watch the world burn, man. Like, it's crazy. And that's everybody, man. Everybody's got something. Some kind of hate in their heart, and we just throw it out to the world just all the time. And I'll just say this, right? Even though this music is sold to everyone, right? Doesn't matter what gender you are, what race you are. It's put out to everyone. But I'm sorry, white people. You are not allowed to rap it. You have to sit there and listen to the song like this. Enjoy.